Hello, everyone. Please welcome to the stage Siva Rajamani, CEO at Everstage, and Shreenidhi Shivkumar, Head of Implementation and Solutions at Everstage.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for coming over. I'm Siva, the CEO of Everstage, and that's Shree, Head of Solutions at Everstage. This topic is something that's super close to our hearts, something that we're super passionate about, revenue operations. And we'll tell you why. So we, obviously, as Everstage, just for context, we are a sales commission management platform. So in the last few years, we've worked with thousands of companies and revenue operations teams to really, understand and help them on sales commissions. But more importantly, as part of that, we've learned how companies have leveraged revenue operations to drive growth, right? And not only that, even before Everstage, I used to run the revenue operations globally for the now NASDAQ listed company Freshworks. So as a revenue operations leader there, saw the journey from over 30 million in ARR to 200 million. And Shreenidhi was part of the team as well. So, this topic is super passionate to, us from our background prior to Everstage as well as now. So, happy to share some of our learnings on this specific topic, right? So quickly jumping in, I think obviously most of you here would have heard of the term revenue operations. Obviously, in the last 5 years, there's been a huge spurt of revenue operations roles. Just in the last 6 months, you had 6,000 plus job openings in RevOps, 300% growth in revenue operation leadership roles. And why is all of this happening? And just for context, RevOps as a term could be used as RevOps, sales ops, business ops in some of these companies. But at the end of the day, really what it means is to have somebody and a team that's partnering with the founder and executive team to be a thought partner, a partner on data and process, and ultimately be the glue between all of the go-to-market functions, right? From marketing to sales to customer success. So that's really driven the rise of RevOps, really. And so today we're going to talk about 6 specific areas where we've seen companies leverage revenue operations to drive growth in the company. So the first one, and we'll kind of talk between each other. So first one is what we see as rationalized reality with metrics. I mean, as entrepreneurs, as folks in SaaS, we've all heard of this term triple, double, right? So essentially, VCs tell you that's how you need to grow. So it's all great. You can build an awesome spreadsheet to say, hey, this is how I'm going to triple, double, and all of that. But how do you get all of this back to reality? How do you ensure you understand what are the metrics that are needed to be able to enable you to drive that growth, right, within marketing, sales, and customer success? That's really where revenue operations comes in. Tries to break all of this down, tries to understand what needs to be done, and also more importantly, constantly be in touch with the reality to say, hey, this is not going well, so you're not going to hit your goal, right? So just keeping you in the loop and, getting you to the truth from a reality standpoint of the metrics.
Yeah, so now you have the right metrics in place. You sort of work with your teams and try and understand what works. But when you initially start off, you're not going to have a lot of data, right? The data initially is going to be very little for you to work on. And in most cases, the data that comes in is also a lot of noise, which might signal a specific market trend, which might not even exist. And you as a founding member don't really have the time to sort of work through all of these data points and see what actually works and takes actionable insights from there. And that's when a revenue ops leader sort of helps, because they can individually work with the marketing teams, the sales teams, try and understand what's happening on the ground and say, hey, this works for you and this doesn't, and helps you take actionable insights from there.
Yeah. And so that's where essentially, data alone doesn't, make the complete picture. You need to have those subjective insights that are coming in from all of these conversations with go-to-market teams. The third way that we've seen the RevOps team being used is obviously now that you have all of these metrics in place, you're able to analyze how you're going to get there. Now you need to tie back, obviously, the goal that you have with the team that you have. So essentially align the team to drive the behavior that you want them to exhibit. So essentially create the right incentive structure, create the right plans for your teams to make sure they are aligned to the North Star metric that you're searching for as a company. And you track them and give them all of that visibility as well to drive the behavior.
I think the fourth point is about creating the policies, processes, and the right tech stack, because now you have the metrics, you have the right sort of incentives to motivate your team, but you need the right sort of tech stack to get you to where you want to get to. And the problem today is you have all of these wonderful vendors out there that are trying to solve, all the problems that, a fast-growing startup might face. But if they don't really talk to each other, it doesn't make sense to the sales teams and the customer success teams to take things forward, right? And we truly believe that the process you set needs to drive the way that the tech stacks talk to each other and not the other way around. So RevOps can really focus on understanding what's happening and build the right sort of tech stack between all of these functions and enable them the right way as well.
Yep. And finally, I think, or actually not, the one point before final is being a master of coin for marketing. I mean, this is obviously something that's changed in the last 1 year. Last year was a lot of, I should say, some companies were just going after mindless growth, but now, we're getting back to sanity, which is really making sure that you are going after growth that's sustainable. And obviously, as marketing teams, they're very passionate about certain channels, certain areas that they're investing on. But revenue operations is this independent partner who's coming in, working with the marketing team, understanding attribution for all of those different channels that are really being used, and really qualify and say, hey, you know what, these are the top 3 things that are really giving us the right CAC, the right ROI, and those are the ones that we need to really invest in, and really discard some of the other points, and just making sure that as a company, you're really driving growth in a sustainable way. So that's the other important way that companies use revenue operations.
I think it's also the final segment of the customer lifecycle, which is mostly something that, you sort of want to focus on and ensure that you have a RevOps partner for, because this is where you can actually grow your business from scratch. This is when you protect your customer base, because as you all are probably familiar, it's easy to sort of retain customers and grow from there. And what we've seen is you deliver value during your sales cycle, but when you actually move to customer success, a lot is lost in translation, either because of the not right processes in place or documentation and so on. And this is when you need a RevOps partner to set up the right tools, processes, and engagement models to ensure that the sales and customer success work well in synchronize with each other. And this will in turn lead to your customers growing. That will definitely happen when these functions talk together. But how do we sort of tie this growth back to marketing and close that loop? This is when RevOps can sort of work with your customer success functions to run more G2 review crowds, testimonials, referrals, see if you can have OKRs and goals that are aligned to that, so that the marketing team can work on it and grow your business from there.
Yep. So just to summarize all of this, 6 different areas that we've seen companies leverage RevOps. First is obviously ensure that you rationalize reality with metrics, the specific metrics that will drive your ultimate, doubling and tripling of revenue that you want as a company. Second is not only look at data, but get to the subjective part of it, collect insights in disguise. Third is really make sure that your team is aligned to your North Star metric by rewarding the right behavior. Fourth is obviously setting the policy and having the tech stack in place to be able to deliver that growth. Finally, being the partner to be with marketing and customer success teams to ensure that we are going after sustainable growth. So I think broadly, this is something that this is something that we've seen companies, fast-growing companies, really leverage well. I think some of the questions that founders ask me is what's the right time to hire the RevOps leader or RevOps person for that matter. There's never never a time when it's early, but I would say once you start to see some kind of product market fit, I think that's really when you should start to invest in this profile, because then they are able to help you scale it from there onwards and then help you achieve the growth that you want to as a company. I think that's broadly our time. Thank you so much for coming. Happy to answer any
Thank you,
questions.
folks.
And we are at booth 219, so you can come over if there's something else that you have. Yeah.